Welcome back to Bitches Means of Ops. Disclaimer. One blinks slightly in an attempt to clear her vision, but as soon as she opened her eyes, a bright light hit her, almost blinding her vision. She just stared towards ceiling, numbly, not knowing what to do. Her mind was completely blank, like a newborn, without any information. Doctor, she's awake. She heard someone speaking nearby, but her mind was not able to process anything. Few minutes passed and the voices became louder and more than one. One blinks towards the direction of voice only to see few peoples in white coats who were probably checking her. She was in hospital, she just realized this, and her body was numerously attached with many different tubes. But her mind was blank. How she reached there, what happened to her, she knows nothing. Someone snapped his fingers in front of her as if to get her attention. One blinks, trying to process what she is trying to say. Can you see me? One just blinks, finding his words so soft and comforting as she just nods in response. Do you remember your name or how you reach here? When thinks for a moment as if she's searching for answers. Gwen, my name is Gwen, she replied while stuttering. Her throat was feeling so dry and she was feeling difficulty to speak. As soon as the doctor understood and halted her to drink water. Why I'm here, she heard herself speaking. You don't remember? She shakes her head as no. He nods and then asks her a few more questions and got to know she lost some part of her memories. When it got into last year and you were in a coma for more than a year now, when I slightly widened in shock. Don't worry, you're better now. He gave her a little more details that was provided to him by her parents. It was still too much for one to process everything, but she was trying to get her memories back as soon as possible, and that's when a few flashbacks come in her mind. She was running away from her apartment and a man running behind her, but she was trying wildly and hurriedly went towards her car and started driving. Baby, please stop the car. You know I love you more than anyone else. She heard Sven's voice but didn't listen and speeds the car. He was also on his own car driving in same speed and was shouting for her to stop the car. Suddenly she saw a bright light blinding her way in. Before she realized it was a truck coming towards her in full speed. Her mind went blank and then everything went blank. Flashback ends. Let out a loud shriek, her hands on her ears, fear clearly visible on her face. Her doctor immediately approached her in attempt to calm her, but she was not seems in her senses. The head in charge, named Jungkook, came forward, removing his mask as he acted deadly, while rubbing her back in a soothing manner. Within a few minutes, her breaths started getting back to normal, and she somehow relaxed in his embrace. Her hand leaning on his, she stepped away and stared him for a few minutes, in awestruck. "You're my boyfriend?" Jungkook stared her for a few seconds, not knowing how to reply. She was just staring him innocently, and he just realized how beautiful she is. He knows if he say no to her at this perfect moment, that may trigger something inside her, and when he also know that her boyfriend was somehow a spot too. Yes, he don't know how this word escaped from his lips, and she smiles, almost flattering his heart with a beautiful smile. And before he understood her next action, she hugs him again, more tightly. "You're so handsome," she giggles, and his heart skips a beat. That was the first time something like this was happening with him. He smiles back when he realized what he was doing. His smile immediately faded away, and he abruptly masked it with the famous straight cold face while getting up. If she got to know about his real identity and how dangerous he actually is, she will never stand even a single minute in front of him. "You need rest, so go to sleep." He runs to leave. "Where are you going?" She blinks cutely. "To see other patients." "Oh," she pouts, nodding. "Don't worry, I'll come to see you again." Her pout turns into another smile. Before he took another step, her voice again stops him. I know you're my boyfriend, but I somehow forgot your name. She murmured, slightly sadly this time. Jungkook and Jeon Jungkook. She ruffled her hair and she blushed in shyness on this little act of his. They started passing, and one started becoming fonder of Jungkook more with every passing day. They didn't realize it at first when he lied to her, but sooner, after a few days, when he saw a lunging eyes for him, it will start hitting him that he did a mistake, and especially when he know he is not even any normal person. His eyes placing the file on his desk, one was singing to him sitting. Her head rested on his shoulder. She was looking much healthy and bright than before, as if she is gaining her energy back. What happened, Cookie? He slightly turns towards her. Nothing. Disturb major surgery coming up. He told her as she nods in understanding manner. When are we going back home? Her voice seemed saddened. One's parents was out of country for some business, and they personally knew about Jungkook, so somehow he was babysitting her without having any other option. You know your parents didn't return back yet? He reasoned slightly. For some odd reason, he was awfully generous and polite with her. Just complete different person to his actual personality. I'm so sick of staying here, Cookie. The hospital stinks. I don't want to stay here anymore. I can go to your house, right? You're my boyfriend. Of course I can. It's settled then. She chirped excitedly, clapping after making scenarios her own self. And Jungkook stiffened on his position. It was true, he was too humble and gentle with her, even though he was accepting all stupid things she wanted to do without any hesitation and without any second debate. But it was going too far now. She need to understand some limits now before it's getting too late. No, you can't, he greeted loudly, almost in a shouting manner. One flinched. Badly, it was the first time he had raised his voice in front of her, and that too this. Tears started forming in her eyes. She immediately got up and ran outside while sobbing badly. Nick was clenching tightly. Surely he had been given her more space than necessary, and now it was start biting himself. After a few minutes and relaxing his nerves, he realized what he did. As much as he was right on his point, and he didn't do anything wrong, he do hurt her even intentionally as guilt starts filling his system. He immediately got up and ran outside in panic. She surely don't know anyone around. He searched for her at every possible place, but there was no sign of her, and it's already been more than half an hour now. God, what he did, that was only going around in his mind. And if by any chance something happens to her, he surely will not able to forgive himself for the first time he was worried for someone. Remembered one was Farm Grove Sunset, and she likes to go upstairs. He had already seen Hull Hospital, and when there was no sign of her anywhere, he made his way towards rooftop. In hopes she could be there, the lift tore things open as he immediately rushed outside, praying constantly in his mind, and that's where she was, sitting on a bench with our head far by, still crying silently, his eyes in relief. But his heart clenched, and he wouldn't teach himself a lesson to be the reason of her tears. Maybe he murmured softly while approaching her, one screamed slightly but did leave. I'm really sorry, Princess. I was just stressed about work and I let it out on you. He mumbled softly in his husky voice, taking cautious steps towards her. When let out another sob and he closed his eyes, he didn't realize when her sob starts affecting him. I don't want to talk and cook you my leave, she mumbles while hiccuping with sobs, and something would twist inside him. Leave Jungkook before it's too late. His mind was constantly saying this, but his heart was saying otherwise. And before he himself understands what he wants, he took some calculated steps towards her and hugged her softly, as if he's touching a Brooklyn doll, and if he touched her in a bit harshly, he may hurt her. One stiffened but melted in his warm embrace in next second. I'm really sorry. He nuzzled his nose in her hairs and captivating himself with her raw descent. I promise that'll never happen again. You don't need to apologize, Jungkook. It's true. I don't remember many things, and maybe I asked more than I deserve. She took a shaky breath with some more sobs as he distraughtingly shook his head. No, don't ever think like this, baby. You deserve the whole world. I know I lost my mind for a moment, but I promise I didn't mean it that way. When I go home, I promise we'll go home if that's What makes you happy? She merely looks up towards him, blinking her white lashes, her eyes puffy, nose and cheeks red due to constantly crying, as he grazed her cheek slightly while wiping her eyes softly. You're not lying. He shakes his head as no. Are you sympathizing me then? He again desperately shake his head as no. When tried to read his eyes and only found honesty. And her lips turned to a smile, and before he read her next action, she hugs him tightly. He was taken aback of her enthusiasm, but returned the hug and warmth starts spreading in his body. Promise me, what happens today will never happen again, she pouts, blinking instantly, and he smiles slightly while nodding. I promise I'll never happen again. A full smile across her lips. Your best boyfriend, the whole world stripped happily. And your bestest and most beautiful and adorable girlfriend in the world. Ruffle her hair slightly as her chair stern speaks. Butterflies start dancing in her tummy. Let's go back inside, she bows as if don't wanna go. As he understands and because it we can stare if you want to for a while. She smiles softly while nodding as she laid her hand on his shoulder and he holds her firmly. Taking order to sign the discharge papers and now they were outside his villa. Why it's magnificent. How many people live there? He chuckles slightly in her words. Just me, one eyes wide in shock as she snapped her neck towards him. Why raise your family? Well, they have their own house and they live separately there. Why not? Again, while pouting guiltily. They start passing one was start getting more attached with him by every passing day, and Jacob would lie if he say he didn't too. He was crossing battle of his own. He was a mafia as a profession, not as if any normal mafia, but mafia king. It's true he didn't make this kingdom. He got this kingdom from his father, and the same thing was going on from his ancestors. And Tuesdays think they choose him, but he still want to become a doctor, and his father let him on a promise that if he will fulfill his all duties of being a mafia king, and so far he was professional in both sides. He can someone as easily as he can, but where eating inside him was the lie. Even though he wasn't one's real boyfriend, he started getting fonder of her after spending time with her, and he was scared to know what will she do after she got to know about his real identity. But them was not showing around, so it was not easy for him to still conceal his real identity, especially when he returned back home with his lots. But guess luck was not in his side anymore. Dangerous Mafia gang just found two betrayers who was leaking their information to their enemy, even knowing about his ruthlessness and how dangerous he possibly could, if he tried to, torture both of them till they were not able anymore. And when he returned back home, his thoughts have many, hair messy and a few here and there in his ankles and hands. He was going towards his room quietly to tired from hospital and all other works, and that's when went open her room door and a loud shriek left her mouth to see Jungkook in this condition. Jungkook was whitened in fear, not knowing what to say and tell her about it. She immediately rushed towards him, and before he knew, she was crying in front of him. Hey, what happened, baby? I'm fine. Relax. It's not mine. He confirmed, and she hugs him more tightly. Promise, he nods, rubbing her back soothingly. Is it any patience? Things different for someone non-resident, but he didn't want to lie anymore as he slightly detached from her and wiped her tears softly. I want to tell you something when she nods. As he says her towards his room, please John and listen me first. I promise I can explain everything. When you don't understand anything but just nods in response. I'm not just a doctor when he pauses to read her expressions and then sighs. I'm a mafia king when the junior cook. Till the time one processed this information and understood about whom he's talking about, thus left him out. She have heard about him in news just a few days ago. His name was in all news channels, though they don't know his face. One can't believe her eyes. She was living with the mafia from days now. But you're a doctor, aren't you? She stuttered and nods. Yes, I am. He explained everything to her, how he inherited this mafia world and how he chose to being a doctor and his promise with his father. One was chosen, but she absorbs all information quietly. Okay, that was the only words came out of her lips. There is more. He looks down, fidgeting with his fingers, feeling nervous for the first time in his entire life. I'm not your real boyfriend, he explained what he just said, and when she asked him if he was her boyfriend, he only said yes because he don't want to hurt her. One heart drops when she got knew about it, and she started dripping from her eyes. Tingle panics as he tried to approach her, but she didn't let him touch her, or it wouldn't get close him. When I know I lied and pretended to be your boyfriend, but I genuinely care for you. All the care and love wasn't a lie. It's true. I was just pretending in starting, but I promise you realize when it turns into love. I really love you. Why do I trust you? She sobs out, unable to hold back herself anymore. You were just playing with my feelings all along, Jungkook hiccups, and he desperately shakes his head in disapproval. I promise when I'm not lying, just think about it yourself. If I wouldn't lie, why do I tell you to myself? I'll just keep it like how I wasn't. I can make sure you never got to know about it, but I did the opposite, didn't I? Tell me now, does my feelings seem slight to you? I never let any woman closer to me except you. Now you can tell if I'm lying or not. He also have tears by now. One leans towards him as she wipes his shirt gently and projects. But what about my real boyfriend? Jungkook sighs. He already knew it's coming as she raised her hands gently in a soothing manner. Promise me you will not start crying when we are him, but finding him serious, he just nods in response. What's love said? I won't cry. Cool, happy? He pinched her nose securely. He cheated on you, which was cause of your accident. He explains everything from that day and one listens quietly. Are you okay? He was squeezing her back and hand lightly in reassurance as she nods with a sigh. Promise me you're not lying. He nods, I promise. And you really loves me? He nods again. I do. I'm all in love with you. And I wanna spend the rest of my life with you. Be my wife. She gasped in surprise. She was not expecting this. Allow me to dummy, she mumbles, giggling and leaving, and he frosts, but suddenly turns as he touches forward with her smiling now, when have a pink tint on her cheeks. But she didn't dare to look him in his eyes. Does I take it as yes? She looks up and stares in his eyes innocently. I don't know, she pouts. That's not fair one. He went. One giggles as she creases his cheek slightly. I don't know what I want yet, but I promise whenever when I marry, I will marry you and only you. I promise, promise. You know what says she smiles, which returns. Thanks for watching.